Hello, welcome back. My name is Lydia and I talk about Christianity and narcissism. My goal is to inform, to offer support and healing, and to uplift. If you find this video useful or engaging, please consider liking the video, subscribing to my channel, and ringing that bell for notifications. I'd also love feedback. If you have thoughts about this topic or something else, please drop them in the comments below. I am not a qualified professional, just a fellow learner. Today, I want to introduce the topic of narcissistic dog whistling. In this video, we're going to go over some descriptions and some examples and some possible motivations. If you have been closely connected to a narcissist, you've probably experienced it. I believe having names for the things that they do is helpful. Looking at individual things in the context of narcissism gives us clarity. We understand that it's not really a little thing here and another thing there. The habits of the NPD are red flags for something darker and more pervasive. You being armed with this information is going to be a catalyst to finding an exit and maybe setting boundaries in the future. We already understand they need control and many need to inflict pain, and things that they do need to be looked at through that lens. So let's get started with some descriptions. Some Google searches gave me the following. Narcissistic dog whistling is a term used to describe a subtle and manipulative communication tactic employed by narcissists to covertly demean, control, or threaten in a way that is only understood by the target and the select few in the know. This manipulation aims to destabilize the victim while maintaining the narcissist's public image and avoiding accountability. In my gaslighting video, I mentioned that the wand is always in the hand of the gaslighter. So with dog whistling, same idea. The whistle is always handy. I think that the dog whistle is coming out frequently in some way. The goal is to maintain control and or hurt someone. Before I jump into some examples, I want to also add that I think a lot of people who are not narcissists could do some of these things, but it would hopefully be more of a one-off and not a defining pattern. We have to look at the big picture before we try to explain the puzzle piece. Let's go over some examples that Google gave me. One of the categories is degrading in public. It gave an example of a husband making a joking comment about his wife's love for cake in a group setting. Other people laugh, but the wife understands this as a continuation of his criticisms at home regarding her weight. Another example was a narcissistic boyfriend giving a speech at a wedding and really praising the bride's cooking ability. It sounds like he's just giving a compliment, but the boyfriend's partner understands this is a criticism because she can't cook. Now, if this woman who supposedly loved cake had lost some weight, or if this other partner had picked up cooking, I think that the partners in these stories would have found something else. This is really about a need to hurt and not really about what they're picking at. I believe I experienced something similar at least once. I recall being in college and living with somebody who had it out for me from the get-go. She was a few years older, held a few leadership positions, was above questioning, but consistently was exhibiting some signs of narcissism. So one morning I did a bad job at speech. I did a bad job with this speech, and then later I was having a meal with a friend, and this girl I lived with showed up and wanted to eat with us. And right before she got up, she made a comment, sounded random, but it was a clear reference. So someone had told her about the speech, and it felt like a slap in the face, probably almost worse than if she had directly made fun of me for it. Another category that I saw was covert threats. It talks about an abused wife at dinner with friends, hearing her husband discussing a news story in which a woman was murdered shortly after leaving her husband. So this abused wife's husband is feigning the stress over the story, but he's also giving his wife this glance, this look, and she understands that he's actually giving her a threat of what could happen to her if she ever considered leaving. I'd encourage you to look up and go over lots of different examples to help like broaden this for you, so you can maybe identify more times it has happened to you. They can definitely do things to try to induce jealousy, maybe tell you what a good job someone else is doing with something in a workplace environment. There's things that they can do on social media. It's really directly, it's really a message for one person, but it's subtle and wouldn't be understood by most people. I don't want to spend too much time on all these examples, but I'll read another thing at the bottom that the search gave me. The impact of dog whistling is to create self-doubt, isolate the victim, and undermine their self-confidence, often leaving them feeling confused and questioning their sanity. It's a form of abuse that is difficult to recognize and address because the messages are disguised and the narcissist can deny their true intentions. I believe my sister employed dog whistles in many, many different ways, but a big one was really just looks that she would give me. Just maybe a quick glare to stop me being happy in a moment, or sometimes it was a method of control. If we were in a group social setting and I was talking and she was there, she would be giving me these mocking looks. And it could be extremely distracting, hard to keep my train of thought. So, if you can picture it, I'm talking to other people, I'm making eye contact with other people while she's making these faces. So, trying to remember what it is I'm trying to say. And then she's demanding my eye contact. So I have to turn back, look at her. While this is happening, another reason that it's hard is because I know that her behavior looks very bad. She does not look like a decent person. And her stigma is my stigma because of the connection. So I want to try to cover that up a little bit. So I laugh when I make eye contact with her, as if we have some sort of inside joke. And what I'm saying is reminding us of the inside joke. So look at her, laugh, look back at another person, try to continue my train of thought. So she let me know in many ways that she owned me and that I couldn't really just simply enjoy connection. She didn't want to really see me being able to enjoy myself and express myself. I have another memory of teaching a class for a church outreach when I was 16. My sister was 18 at the time. She volunteered at the same outreach and she happened to be helping in the class that night. I was up on stage. So I woke up that morning sick. I had very bad sinus pain. I had no voice, very, very sore throat, probably coughing. But back then, when you had symptoms like that, you still did stuff. So I'm up on stage sick, but trying to choke out the story. And she's sitting right there demanding eye contact. And she was giving me absolutely horrendous looks. She was clearly angry and disgusted. She was cringing. And like I said, demanding my eye contact. She criticized me later for my lack of inflection, and she was trying to keep something going even though I was sick. Other times in which she would use something like this was times in which I was having a conversation with a friend, a two-way conversation. She would show up and give me a look, and I knew I had to hightail it out of there as quickly as possible. So it was clearly her turn to talk privately with the friend. And that gaze would follow me until I was out of earshot, and then she would turn to focus on the friend. This started when I was 13, went through my adult years. I think that she did want to talk privately with friends, I believe she equally wanted to take something away from me, and it wasn't something that I would ever be able to question. That's all I have for today. I know hard things in life are often layered. One hard thing is often connected to another hard thing, and it's hard to know what to think and how to process and how to even pray. For today, I want to just leave you with Psalm 23. David is depicting God as a shepherd. It's a very tender, healing image for us when we are hurting. It speaks of God's gentle care for us and future promises. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. I pray God gives you rest and peace as you deal with your trauma. I'm going to sign off. Keep praying, keep learning, keep the faith. See you next time.